Welcome to the Connectable podcast.
The Connectable podcast starts in 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know where to start this time. Usually we start talking. We kind of talk beforehand, and then I had to clear my throat. So there's that weird pause. Usually we kind of just roll into it, and we're not gonna do that today. So today, you'll notice if you're watching, you'll already be able to tell, and if you're just listening, you haven't heard Deb's voice yet, which is rare because she usually jumps in within the first few seconds because she's not here today. And I have a couple of theories. One, she might just be done with the show. She's been on Crystal Rose's podcast, I think 3 times at this point. They just dropped one today. She might just be hinting that she's not coming back. I don't know. She missed the last podcast. She missed this one, and she's going to miss the next one. So I don't know. You guys let me know. If you guys think she's out, I can't tell. This might have been a situation. Like, you know those stories where, hey, dad went out to go get cigarettes, like in Chappelle's, one of his most recent specials, and it's like, you just didn't come back. It kind of feels like Deb went to go get cigarettes, and she's gone now. So that being said, we have a recurring co-host. No, it's not Travis Cole. My brother, Jordan Takimoto. You guys are kind of in the race for you and Trav. I didn't expect it to happen. I thought you'd just be the clear leader for guest host appearances, but Trav kind of cut the lead pretty short, pretty close.
Well, you know, I contend it's because he has a face for a video podcast. Like, I have a face for an audio podcast, and he has a face for a video podcast. So, like, that's just unfair. We're like, we have 2 different stacks of cards, and they're very, like, I have an incomplete stack of cards, and he has a full deck, probably 2 decks almost, and it's not fair. So
you have that like that gumball machine deck that's like, you know, the size of like a quarter, with just like a couple of flimsy cards.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's the kind that you have at the casino, you know, top of the line. I tell him every time he comes on here too, it's like, hey man, you're probably just too good looking for this podcast. I shouldn't be on the same show as you. So I'm in the same boat. So that being said, you guys get the two ugly guys on today's show. So if you're listening only, good for you. We spared you. So well, thanks man for jumping in again. I always appreciate it, and I think the people enjoy it too. Like I've told you, and I would not, you know this, I wouldn't say this to you if I was lying. I wouldn't try to spare your feelings. People do enjoy your episodes. I've had a few people reach out saying, hey, we like Jordan's episode, or some people don't know your name still, but they're like, we like the brother.
Yeah, the brother, exactly.
They're like, we like the brother, bring him back. I'm like, all right, sounds good. And I know Deb's heard the same thing. So always fun to have you on here. Probably still makes our mom nervous every time you hop on here with me, because she's probably not sure what we're going to say, specifically you.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I just want to point out, like, Deb is like where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Like, where is she? Like, if I had $1 every time Deb didn't show up to this podcast, I would be able to buy the lunch that she still owes me from this podcast. So I just want to point that I know she, like you said, she's doing the self-love breakfast club.
Self-love breakfast club,
which, you know, I know she's a person that comes on here regularly, Crystal Rose. I don't know how I feel about the name of that podcast, because that can go in a little different ways. And, you know, if you had a really savvy marketer, like, we could explode this thing, and, you know, maybe not the type of attention those 2 ladies want, but if me and you did a self-love breakfast club, that'd be a very different experience. Definitely not safe for work podcast.
Probably not. That sounds like that would be sponsored by like a lotion company.
Yeah, like KY or something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a little different show, but yeah, it's a good thing that Crystal's in charge of that one and not us, because I think it's a much different thing and a much more beneficial thing for all her listeners. So, I don't know what happened to Deb. She is like Carmen Sandiego, and I know some of her friends listen to this. Nicole, I'm sure you're listening to this. If you could just give us an update on how Deb's doing, that would be fantastic, because you would know better than we would, because she just doesn't show up to this podcast. So, you know, I don't know. Hopefully she's okay.
Yeah, and I mean, if not, hopefully her phone's still like working so that she just automatically subscribes to the podcast. So you still get those downloads, and if she's not here, then it's just like The
That's a good
downloads
point.
still keep coming. So I think that's our main concern at this point, and then her safety secondarily.
That's a great point. I don't know if Deb subscribes to the podcast. What do you
What are we
think?
doing here?
You think she does or no? Yes or no? Something like my gut after 2.5 years of knowing Deb, a little longer actually, probably closer to 3 years of knowing her, 2.5 years of doing a podcast. I'm going to say she's not subscribing.
I would actually take it further, and I think she's the person that gave you the 1 star. I have a couple theories of who I think she's trying to tank this.
Really? That's interesting. All right.
It's like it's Ted Lasso. She's the owner, like
Yeah.
trying to sabotage the team here, and I think she's giving that 1 star. I have a couple theories who that may be, but I mean, just thinking about it now, it could be Deb.
That's interesting. So if we're still kind of going down the Ted Lasso route, I need to bring her. Was it biscuits that he brought to the boss or the owner every morning? Is that what they call them?
Yeah.
Biscuits? Like they're basically
No,
cookies?
here in America we call them cookies. So
It's here in America. Yeah, I guess I need to bring Deb cookies or send her cookies to win her back to this podcast because she might be falling away from it. But that's okay. You know what?
That crumble place, or I don't know. I feel like that's been her connection suggestion like 7 weeks in a row. It's just crumble.
She loves that place. Yeah, and I would hope if one day when we are recording back in person, I hope she brings in crumble for the people in the studio. But I don't know. I'm not convinced because she seems to love those crumble cookies so much that I'm not sure they would make them back to the studio, which I can't blame her. I'm a big cookie fan as well, so I'd probably eat them all as well. But anyways, that being said, Deb's not here, and in all seriousness, Deb is I think just her and I have always talked. She's just on summer break from teaching, so she's enjoying life right now. So I said, that's all right. I'll hold down the fort. I'll bring Jordan in, and then for the first 5 to 10 minutes, we'll make fun of you. So it's all good. It's all good. So that being said, we have a fun topic today, and we're going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to try something a little bit different, which is funny because last time you and I were on here, we talked about movies and just everything about movies. This time we're going to talk about movie theater people, but what we're going to do, and we're going to start doing every once in a while, is do a top 5 episode. So whether it's me and Jordan or me and Deb, or maybe me, Deb, and another guest, every once in a while we'll throw out these top 5 lists, and it might be top 5 favorite things, top 5 least favorite things, top 5 most annoying things, top 5 things you should know, whatever it may be. We're going to start doing these top 5 episodes every once in a while, and I thought this would be a fun one to start off with Jordan. And basically today we're going to be talking about our top 5 movie theater people. So that's the more we talked about it, that's pretty wide as far as what that could entail. It could mean, and I can speak for my list, and I'm sure for your list, some of the people on my list are people that you encounter at a movie theater that annoy me. Some are not annoying, but a little weird. And then some are people that, no matter where you go, no matter what theater you go to, you're going to encounter these people. So it's kind of just like the top 5. When I think of people at a movie theater, these are the top 5 people that come to my mind. So I don't know about you, but that's kind of the direction we're going.
No, yeah, that's kind of how you described it to me. So that's I'm not the most positive I mean, anyone who's listening to this podcast, no, I'm not the biggest people person. So this is all negative. And I probably tweeted about these people before. So there's not going to be like, oh, I love it. It's usually bad experiences. So they're all 5 are bad.
There we go. And that makes for better podcast content anyway. So let's get this thing going. You want to go first, or you want me to?
Actually, I hate. Do you mind if I go run to use the bathroom real quick?
You're the worst.
I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. I just wanted to pull that one out.
That's good. All right, then you're starting, because I feel like that was a good segue into your first one.
Okay, so are we doing like the worst? I mean, I guess this is going to be the weakest. This is number 5. So this isn't kind of my best one.
Sure.
Where do I want to go? Okay, so hand raised. I'll do this sometimes, but I don't do it to the extent that some people do it. Is snarky commercial guy, like when they're previewing the movies. Like there's always that guy who is maybe with a couple of friends or a girlfriend, and he always has to like kind of back talk to the previews or kind of like the pre-show interviews with whoever. And it's just like it's every single time he's, oh, is it really the biggest movie of the summer? And like he thinks it's funny, and he like it's funny maybe the first time, and then the 17th time, it's just like it gets old. And I have to say, like, I don't know where people go to watch their movies, but a lot of times it's Maria Menounos that's doing like the pre-show. And
Sure.
I'm just gonna go out and say Maria Menounos is a national treasure. So if you backtalk her, I'm gonna have a big issue with you, because that I want to hear her speak rather than the fat guy who he thinks he's hysterical by just doing the same joke over and over again. So snarky commercial guy. Like I said, I've done it. I've made that jokes probably to you, but
Sure.
I also don't vocalize it so that the whole theater can hear. Because again, I'm not going to disrespect Maria like that. So
Sure. Well, and yeah, you said that person typically goes too far too, as far as, okay, you said it one too many times. I didn't realize we were in here with Jeff Ross. I didn't realize this was just gonna be a roast the entire time. Not a funny one, just one that's getting on everybody's nerve. Because like you said, it's loud enough for everybody to hear it. It's like, yeah, no, we get it. We get it. You don't want to hear this 2-second, 2-minute interview with this actor before the movie. Maybe show up later, man. Don't show up so early in the movie. You don't have to deal with it. And it's a simple problem. And like you said, yeah, I know how you feel about Maria Menounos. So don't cross him. Don't make fun of him. Don't make fun of her in Jordan's presence. It's a problem.
no, and I have a quick story. We
Sure.
were, I think we were watching. It was a summer movie, and we went to the Rockland Studio Movie Grill, and so we were watching kind of an early afternoon. Yeah, I think it's Baywatch. So, and I think it was me and my siblings. I was probably in college when that movie came out, so I had summer break basically, and I had the whole day free. So then we go there, and there's kind of one of these people that are just kind of making these comments throughout the trailers and all of that stuff. And all of a sudden they kind of just kept making these snarking comments, and all of a sudden a baseball, either commercial or an ad popped up for something baseball related. And as the podcast listeners know, we're big baseball guys here. That's our favorite sport. And
Nope.
I'm not even, I wouldn't even defend this just because of baseball. I just think it was a stupid comment because, again, probably 11 o'clock on a weekday, a lady in front of me sees the baseball ad and is like, ugh, you know what? I think baseball players are like the laziest people on earth. It's like, oh, you guys decided to watch a movie on a weekday at 11 o'clock. You're stuffing your face with chicken fingers. You're supposed to be at work, bro. Why are you commenting on, a professional athlete? So, that just, like I said, usually it's not not high level comedy. And so but when she kind of just went into how lazy professional athletes, professional baseball players are, again, while she took the day off, not working on a weekday to watch Baywatch and just stuffing her face with like margaritas and chicken fingers, it's like, oh, the irony is just it's next level. So I just had to add that with the snarky commercial person. So
Sure.
At least wait until like a Friday night where everyone's off. But hey, don't do it on a weekday.
Good call. I agree. No, that's a good one. That is tough. That is tough, especially for people like me, my wife, and I. We both, we're old souls. We get to the movies early, just so we can sit there, hang out, and just relax, and not have to rush to get to our seats, even though they have assigned seating, which I will get to later. But yeah, so no, we're there. So we're very familiar with all that stuff. Also familiar with the horrible, local ads for all the dentists, the local dentists, and the different things that pop up before movies. I get that's a low budget, but it's tough. It's tough sometimes. You know what I mean? Because especially when you see those businesses after the movie, it's like, man, I don't know if I can take this seriously, because I feel like they tried hard. They tried hard with those commercials, but they are a little tough.
Yeah, there's one specifically. I don't know if people go to the Palladio, and it's been there for like a long time. It's the guy jogging,
Yeah,
jogging.
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Like he's not that place isn't going to be my connectable mention or at the end. But yeah, like my issue with that one is at the end there's like a really like there's a sexual undertone with when the lady says, "Oh, the package has arrived." Or it's very sexual, and
Yeah.
I it makes me uncomfortable every single time.
Well, and I'd have to watch. It's been a while. Obviously, I haven't been to a theater for quite a while, but I feel like from what I remember in that commercial too, and again, maybe some of our fulsome locals would be able to tell me if this is true or not. I feel like the route that man runs is very bizarre. Like I feel like I don't know if it's a weird route that he takes. And I just feel like some of the places he goes and the order he goes to them, it's like I don't know if that makes sense. I could be wrong, but that's always thrown me too. I was like, I feel like this guy has no clue where he's jogging, and I feel like his wife's just putting up messages all over the city, hoping that somewhere when he jogs, he's going to see this message. So I'm
It's
with
like
you.
he has bigger problems than a root canal. Like he's a stupid. So I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna fix stupid, but maybe you'll have a better smile.
You know what's crazy too, and I've never thought about this, but I'm assuming that these are local actors that they got for these commercials. What if we saw that dude running around Folsom? That'd be amazing.
I would just ask if the package has been delivered. I mean,
Hey, bro, you going to the dentist? The package's been delivered. Like, oh, he talks this
that's
way normally. Yeah, that would make my day. I'm hoping now that I see that man just jogging around. But I wonder if he even goes to that dentist, or is he just an actor?
I don't know. It could be like a family member. It's probably like a failed actor. We know a couple of those. It's probably someone that didn't make it, but it's like you throw your brother-in-law a bone to get in good graces with the wife or something. That's
Sure.
something that you would do.
That makes sense. So yeah, no. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out as well. So I'm sure if anybody's here local in Sacramento and has been up to Folsom at the Palladio, you know exactly which commercial we're talking about. So yeah, so I don't really have an order to this. So I'm going to kind of start off with the lesser, the more common ones that are not a crazy big deal, but like people just know. Talkers, just people who talk during the movies. Now, if you're kind of whispering, I don't care about whispering. It's the people who just want to talk and ask questions and who are just a little too loud. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, we don't all need to be part of your conversation. If you want to whisper to your friend and you want to annoy them, that's fine. But we don't all need, like, if I'm 2 rows behind you, I don't need to hear your conversation. Some people just can't help but talking loud. And during a movie, especially like in a theater, usually it's a movie that I haven't seen before. It's like, I would like to hear, each piece of dialogue. I would like to hear the details because I feel like it's kind of important. So when you have people that are just talking with no regard for anybody else, it's like they're in this, it's like they're in their own house, right? Like they can just talk as loud as they want about whatever they want. It's like, hey, did you realize you're in a movie theater with other people and you're disturbing the whole experience? It drives me nuts. Again, that's something that's pretty common. So it's nothing special there, but it does drive me nuts.
And I just want to point out, doesn't your co-host talk during movies? Hasn't that been on record?
On record multiple times. And so that's why I'm like, I'm not going to go too deep into this. Everybody knows how I feel about this. But yes, she is one of the people I was thinking of when I put that one down. So
okay, we put an asterisk next to that one. Just let the record show a certain redhead may or may not talk during films. But
yes.
I think that's one of my main issues with, like I mentioned, the studio movie grill, like those eating ones, is like I get distracted easily, so I don't want to see the waiter come by and you guys squabbling over whether you ordered the chicken nachos or not. Like I think it's very distracting when you're ordering during the movie, you're getting soda like that. I don't like that part. So I agree. Like even like if there's a purpose to the talking, it drives me nuts because I can't focus, because I'm going to naturally just start listening to kind of, again, their squabbles over, their Diet Coke or whatever.
What's weird though is I actually don't have any issues with the studio movie grill when it comes to that. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because I go in with a different mindset expecting that to be the case, but I can actually focus on the movie and completely block them out. It's a weird thing because I thought when I first went there I would have a really tough time focusing on the movie because of that very thing. I'm actually okay with it. I can deal with it there. Now, if somebody came in with a plate of nachos and was serving someone at a regular movie theater, I would have a huge problem with it because like, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this right now? This is not normal here. But that's because that would be bizarre if that happened there. But like in a studio movie grill, I think it's just what I expect. So I'm actually cool with it. To me, it almost feels like you and I have gone to multiple comedy shows, like at Punchline. It feels like that to me, where the 2 drink minimum. The waitress comes, brings your drink, gets your order, but like it doesn't take anything away from me as far as a comedy show. I'm able to focus, and it has the same feel to me. So maybe I just go with a different mindset.
Yeah, and it might just be kind of past experiences too, which we'll get into later about that specific studio movie grill, which I don't have just a good track record there. So
That's
I'll
true.
explain that later. But I think you're right. Like I think you're just a more positive person, and you are what's that thing in sports where you're able to wipe the slate clean after each play? I mean, no, I'm thinking 17 plays ago last season, and that's me. So I hold grudges. I'm a grudge holder. So I have bad experiences at movie studio grill, and so you know what? Yeah, I don't want to hear your stupid waiters just talking. I don't want to hear you talking. Stop talking.
That he is a grudge holder, and not to go down this rabbit hole, but we were playing an arena softball tournament, and he played third base and had an interaction with a man on the base paths. And then Jordan felt the need to make a comment every time that guy crossed third base. So, and it was 3 or 4 innings of that. So, yeah, he's not lying. He can hold a grudge. So, but yeah, anyways, man, that's my talkers, and and I'm gonna just kind of lump this one in there too. So I'm actually gonna put a couple of these together because I just realized that these are some of my other ones might take a little bit longer. But loud groups of teenagers or like young people drives me crazy. And when I say young people, that's very broad. Like I don't necessarily mean teenagers, but just younger people, because they tend to get super loud and they laugh at stuff that their friend does that's not funny, and it has nothing to do with the movie. It drives me crazy. Because here's the thing, I don't know the psychology behind this, but when they do that, I feel like they're like striving for attention. Like they want people to hear how loud their laugh is, and they want to get some kind of attention. You're driving me nuts. I'm not going to give you the attention, but just know as I hear this nonsense that's going on, I want to fight all of you. I want to fight all of you because you're just incredibly annoying. And that drives me nuts. Also, the person, again, this all falls under talking. The person who, see, here's the thing. I don't like when people text during movies because of the light, but it also doesn't drive me crazy like other people. Like it's not going to ruin my experience, right? Like it's weird, not going to ruin my experience. But the one thing that does drive me nuts is when the person picks up the phone, answers it, and says, "Hey, I can't talk right now because I'm in a movie." Hey, that's the time you should text. If you have to answer the call, just hang up the call, text them, say, "Can't talk right now," and then leave it at that. If you're going to take the call, leave the theater. But like, it drives me nuts when they're like, "Hey, what's up? Yo, sorry, can't talk right now in the middle of a movie." Yeah, you shouldn't have picked up the phone in the first place, bro. Don't do that. That's all I'm going to say. Talking. Don't do it in a theater.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's crazy. You said that one because I have like two that kind of go into that one. So I'm gonna just go ahead and roll through both. We'll do snake draft style. I don't know.
We're just consolidating. This is good.
So, so which one do you want? You want my talking one or like the phone one? Because I have both. The variations of what you said, but
give me both. Give me both.
Well, which one do you want first?
Let's do the phone.
Okay, and you'll remember this. This is super. I'm the opposite of you, so it really bothers me when people bring out their phones. It's like I'm not a big smartwatch guy, but like the invention of the Apple Watch eliminated the need to look at your phone in a movie because you could just check that thing.
Sure.
We may even have people in our family that like to check their phones, and I have to give them a dirty look. It's uncomfortable for everyone for me to give them that dirty look. I just hate when people do like, and it's always the people that don't dim their screens either. So right. It's like the 100% brightness. So it's always those people that have to check their phone, and it bothers me. It's distracting. It's like I think it's just I have 2 hours to spare where I don't need to be on my phone. There's a bigger phone conversation that I have that we won't get into. Okay. But you'll remember this isn't actually during the movie because here's my thing too is I like people texting prior to the movie because I'm a habitual I'll read the text over your shoulder.
I do the same thing.
And it's awesome. So just giving me content. But I think I don't know if, I think it's just maybe me and you at a movie theater. And there was a bigger couple, and they were middle-aged. And let's just say, I don't know how to put this nicely, but it's like, I don't think there was a lot of passion and romance in that relationship. You know, they seem more like roommates, less like lovers. Okay.
Sure.
So I think we were kind of both just talking amongst ourselves before the movie, and all of a sudden the guy in front of us pulls up his phone. It's a smartphone, whatever, and we look at the guy.
Sorry, but it was a big phone. It was like one of those like Galaxy Notes
Plus
with the stylus attached. I mean, it's a big phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and like normally, I don't know, normal people, normal couples, I don't know, they're on Facebook, they're checking some text, the weather, whatever. No, this guy had his lock screen was a Playmate. And so he was looking at basically softcore porn while his wife was sitting next to him. And she just didn't even care. But we had to see like, you know, Miss March and Miss April and Miss May. And we just saw all these pictures of just these playmates that this guy was just casually scrolling in a public place in front of his wife. So, you know, shouts out for him for getting away with it, and just shout for the wife for just being cool with it. But it made me uncomfortable, because, you know, you don't know what happens, you know, when he gets a little too into it. It was just odd to see him.
I think we know exactly what happens when he gets a little too into it.
Yeah, no, well, that you know, I think that leads
back to the Self-Love Breakfast Club.
Yes, what's up? That leads me into my next person, which again, this is just going to be a really sexual podcast for me. I don't know why. It's the guy that has to get really, really vocal about like nudity in movies. Like the nudity part doesn't make me uncomfortable. What makes me uncomfortable is the guy in a full theater that has to like say something about how hot the woman is in front of everyone. So it could be kind of, you know, a topless scene is like, ugh. And it's just something like auditory that it's gross. And it's like, you also want to ask like, hey, do you need to change your pants? Like, I don't know what's going on, but like, there's always that one guy, he's probably in his 30s or 40s, and he just can't play. He can't play it cool. It's like, act like you've been there before and you've just seen a naked woman. Like, women don't do that at all when they see just naked. I don't know. It must be just because we're immature, but there's always that guy, like I said, 30s or 40s, always in the middle. And it's like, I don't think you meant to say that out loud, because everyone heard you say it's not even like a word. It's an audible moan that's like, oh, I'm horny right now.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, you're absolutely right. It's definitely not words. The dude's not saying like, wow, she's beautiful. Oh, she's hot. It's nothing like that. It's that weird like, like, oh man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. And it's like, you know, and I'll say this too. If I'm going to the movie with that person, first of all, if you're going to the movie with that person, you probably know they're like that. Do not share snacks with that person. Like I'm definitely not sharing popcorn with that person. Don't anything that their hands have touched, just stay away from it in that situation, because you can't trust them. You know, again, not to be super, you know, not to be gross and graphic, but it's true. Like, I just don't trust that guy. Like a guy that would make that sound during a movie is, you know, just not trustworthy when it comes to the other decisions that he's made.
Yeah, no, I just remember, I think like the first time I witnessed that or you know, experienced that with another person was I was with a buddy and we saw that movie Hall Pass with Owen Wilson, and there's like a scene towards the end where it's like, oh yeah, this is like there's gonna be some rustling in some chairs when this scene occurs, and so like he just let out like I can't even describe the vocal, but like that's what he did, and it's like, oh, this is he's made it very uncomfortable for everyone involved, because, you know, we know where his thoughts were immediately, which I guess that was probably the intended reaction when they made that scene. But
I don't think so.
No, probably not.
I don't think so. But you know, hey, if it got that guy's attention, then I guess whatever they did worked. It was kind of a byproduct of what I think they were probably just going for the laugh or the shock value, but then you got that guy interested in a whole nother level. So yeah, no, I'm with you, man. It's always weird. But yeah, going back to your story too, that situation was very funny, because you and I definitely nudged each other, like get a load of this dude in front of us. Just, and like you said, going through all these playmates, and it's like, oh, you didn't just go through whatever year it was, you went back like 2 or 3 years, just like swiping. If OnlyFans was around back then, like you would have just seen him just going through his through his subscription, saying, "Hey, what do we have today?" Yeah, it was very uncomfortable, and like, I think we even joked about this at the time. I'm sure his wife was like, "Yeah, this is just who he is," and my man's 350 pounds. Like, let him live his fantasy. None of this is a reality. He's got no shot. As
Right.
close as
Yeah.
he's gonna get. So yeah, no, it's bizarre how comfortable and how comfortable people get with their phones out in public, because yeah, you're right. People are just right behind you with clear shots at what you're looking at. It's very bizarre. It's also uncomfortable because believe it or not, everybody, I'm a bit of a talker, and I like talking to people. Why I have a podcast. So, I've even, all these years of knowing my wife, all the years we dated, being married, like we still have great conversations. And so even when we go to a movie theater early, like we're actually talking before the movie. Let me make that clear. We're talking before the movie starts, but we're having conversation about just, whatever, life, just joking around, fun stuff. It's always weird to me. And hey, maybe this is a generational thing. Maybe I'm just a little older, but like when I see a couple, uh, and sometimes that's a game my wife and I will play. It's like, what do you think? Do you think it's like, have they been together for a while? Is this a first date? Because if it's a first date, this is rough, because they're both on their phone, either texting or playing games. It's always brutal when I see two adults that come into a theater together, uh, and that are like, you can tell that are like, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, that are just playing games. It's like, ooh, it's not a good sign, I don't think, because I feel like there should be some kind of conversation, because I feel like this is date night. I feel like there should be some kind of conversation going on. No judgment. Again, no judgment. If that's what you guys want to do, that's fine. But it doesn't seem like it's a good sign for what's going on that night.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's unfortunate. It's what happens these days, though. I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's just me, man. Maybe that's just a more normal thing. And again, I admit I'm a talker, so I would much rather have some conversation than play on my phone. I mean, I don't need to play Tetris again.
Devil's advocate. I'm probably more in the situation. Like and as people that listen to this podcast know, I have the propensity to say dumb stuff. So it's like, maybe it's like he's not a volume shooter, so he's trying to be efficient with what he says, because the more he talks, like he's gonna say, like inevitably, the more I talk, the more I'm gonna say something stupid that offends people. So that's just devil's advocate. I know I might be like that. It's like, you know what, I need to choose my words wisely, so better I just stay on the phone than throw that interception at the goal line, because I've done that before. There are certain people that can attest to that. So that's what I would say. If I'm going to defend that guy, if I'm his legal team, that would be the only thing I would say is, maybe not everyone's as socially skilled as you are, and so they might say something stupid. So I'm the voice for those people, because I can attest to it. I'm a card-carrying member of saying stupid stuff to specifically women.
Maybe I'll say this though. You're talking about not wanting to pass the ball at the goal line to prevent an interception. You could run the ball. Keep it simple. You know what I mean? Just run the ball. He was on the bench still. He didn't realize the game was going on. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm just trying to help out my my less skilled compadres out there. That's all I'm trying to do.
There we go. Hey, at
Someone's
least
got to look out for him.
At least he wasn't, looking at Pornhub on his phone next to his date. So
it's a bold strategy.
It was a bold strategy, yeah. So okay, anyways, let's move on. So this one, I'll preface by saying this. This one I don't mind when people do this. So I don't mind the idea of it. What I do mind is how it affects the smell of everything. When people bring in food from outside, like fragrant food from outside, if someone brings in Chinese food, if someone brings in Taco Bell and it's super fragrant, I don't care that people bring their own food in. It doesn't bother me. I know some people get annoyed by like the chewing. I don't care about any of that stuff. Like that it's not even on my radar. The thing that does bother me is when your food is so fragrant that it turns the theater, it takes it from, hey, like smell popcorn, all that stuff, like normal theater smell, to, oh, this feels like I'm at Sunrise Mall in the food court where I'm smelling Chinese food, Mexican food, pizza, popcorn, like, Cinnabon. Like that's just a weird smell to me. And it's like, I don't want to smell that in the theater. So again, I don't care that you bring food in, but bring something like not crazy fragrant, because it's like, I don't want to smell a food court. I like the theater smell. I like popcorn smell. You know what I mean?
Wait, so you don't like the smell of Sbarro? New
Uh,
York's
Sabor.
authentic pizza per Michael Spot?
Michael Scott. No, not there, man. Not there. It's like, no, keep the food court smell at the food court. Let the theater have the theater smell. So, and I don't know if there's a way to prevent that. So, just bring less stinky foods in. No egg salad sandwiches.
See, I don't know if I've ever come across that. So, and that doesn't bother me. I think I've learned over the past couple of years, people are weird with food, like in the vicinity, like at the workplace, people have gotten weird with food. I just don't, just like you said, they have an issue with smells and like the chewing. So and it's never bothered like the sound. Like a lot of people have an issue with the sound of food. It's never bothered me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, no, it's only in the theater for me. It's like I said, I think when I go into a theater, there's like that certain popcorn. Like I love popcorn, man. That's the problem. Like I love popcorn, especially movie theater popcorn. So I prefer just smelling that. But when you start mixing in a bunch of weird smells, it's like, oh, like I said, it just takes me back to a food court. Which food courts, those smell weird to me. You know what I mean? I've never walked past a food court thinking, man, I'm super hungry. That smells delicious. I think this is like it's like they put a bunch of foods in a blender and just blended it up. That's what it smells like to me. It's a weird smell to me.
It's not to take a shot. This isn't even a shot, but it's almost what I imagine a spivey creation, like a food creation, smells like. It's just like a bunch of food. It's you got your Panda, your Sbarro,
Sure.
that like they throw in some Cinnabon. That's kind of what I imagine, kind of, because I know they do like some of the food creations, and that's kind of what I imagine their kitchen smells like after they combine all of that food is the food court or movie theater when someone brings in outside food.
Sure. Yeah, I completely agree. Shout out to the Spivey guys at Spivey Special Podcast. Go check them out. Spivey at Spivey Special, the Spivey Special Podcast.
But again, like to be on the opposite side of that, that could be like a really like elite food person. I said I wasn't gonna get positive, but like there's always that person that and I think your wife may or may not be this person, but carries a big purse so that you can bring in
Hey. That's enough. That's enough of that. That's enough of that.
And no, I feel like, there's always a wink that like the people know what's going on. So
yeah, for sure. That's why she bought that purse. It's like, hey, we go to a lot of movies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, are you bringing in, like, where are you bringing in here? It's like, don't worry about it. So.
Well, you remember we went to the Dark Knight Rises on the premiere night. I think it was the only time I've ever gone to a premiere movie. I'm a huge Batman fan, so we went to the midnight showing, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna come prepared. So Rachel definitely shoved a couple of monsters in there for us. I think she shoved one in there for you too. So that big purse came in handy.
Oh yeah. So all I'm saying is like those people, keep doing your thing.
Keep doing your thing. Just less smelly foods. Less smelly foods. I don't care that you're eating Chinese food. I just don't want to smell it. That's all I got.
Well said.
Thank you, sir. What happened to you, man? You're like, I'm kind of negative guy, and then you came out with two positive things, trying to talk about the dude playing games during his date, and then this one. What happened to you? It's like you lost yourself midway through the podcast.
You know what? So I'm gonna do one more kind of positive one. So how many do you have left? Do you have two? I have two.
I've got two, and there's a story with both.
Okay, so I'm gonna do mine, and this is like I get this a lot, and sometimes you roll your eyes, and I understand the principle of being nice to your bartenders, your waiters, waitresses, and I think I actually surprisingly I treat those people better than I treat the average person. So this isn't to take shot, but I also think like we need to extend it to movie theater workers because sometimes people aren't the best. They don't treat them the best. So like I said, every once in a while you'll get that PSA where it's like, oh, you need to be nicer to your bar. Like it's the ugliest thing when you're mean to your bartender, waitress, waiter, whatever. Like I said, I think there needs to be a PSA to extend that to the movie theater people. So I get really annoyed when people don't take their empty food or like their leftover food and just throw it in the trash on the way out. Like that's why the trash cans are there.
Yeah.
And it really there's that level. If you don't do that, you're kind of a scumbag. Like if you leave your Coke thing, your Coke bottle or your Coke, your soda in the cup holder, that's one thing. Then there's another level where you look at the ground beneath them and it's like, wait, did Jake Paul have a fight? And it's like, is that why popcorn's all why? Like, your little kids are what, like you're 2.5 and a couple months, like they wouldn't make this type of, and your kids love making messes. Like they
Sure.
would be able to figure out, hey, don't get 70,000 pieces of popcorn. But some people just can't help themselves. Like I said, it's like Conor McGregor and Jake Paul got in a scuffle and in that row, and there's just popcorn everywhere.
It's
It's like the guy that who poured popcorn on Kyrie Irving a few months ago.
Mm.
It's like that dude just came in and just ran down every row and just I don't understand that, why people have to do that. But like I said, it's super simple. It's like the same people that can't put away their grocery carts. It's like, come on, like this is why we have.
Yeah, or the people that can't put away the item they don't want anymore. That's the most annoying thing. Oh man, I don't want this cereal anymore. I don't want the Cocoa Puffs. I'm gonna leave it near the broccoli. Hey man, make the trip back to the Cocoa Puffs and put the box back. Don't leave it by the broccoli, you douchebag. Don't do that.
And like this like transcends any sort of field. It's like, hey, you're a gym guy, go put your weights back. Like it's not that I'm not even a gym guy, and I know that. I can't bench a lot, but you know what? People respect me because I put stuff back.
Back.
Just beyond that, like the story, I think that most represents just being nicer to the movie theater people is when we went to Endgame. Yeah. And there's a technical difficulty right in the middle. So then you have all these dorks, and yes, I said dorks, who just start booing and start freaking out, which it's like, okay, it's funny the first time, you guys were kind of joking. Then the manager comes in and says, hey, we need to redo this. And she's trying to rewind it to the exact point. Well, then people just start arguing and they start getting really mad because she's not, within the 1/10 of the second of where we left off. And they just get really rude. And it's like,
right.
It would be like if I, went to a children's hospital and kicked a kid with cancer. Like that's the type of reaction they gave the movie because she couldn't get it to the right exact spot that we left off. Like, guys, it won't kill you to see 5 more minutes of Thor being fat, Right. So finally, I think your wife was one of the more vocal ones that finally just said, okay, it's fine. Just play it here. It's 10 minutes early. That's fine. Just do it.
Well, yeah, because we were annoyed. Yeah, that I agree with everything you said. People lose their minds. The part that was annoying to me is they were treating the workers like they were stupid. And my thought was, hey, why don't you rewind back a little further than need be? And then you get to rewatch a scene that was pretty good, and you won't run the risk of missing something. But they're like, no, we want it at the exact point. It's like, you guys are all stupid. Like, this makes no sense, because when you try to hit that exact point, like I said, there's going to be a really good chance that you miss something that may be important. So it's like, you guys are treating them like idiots, but you are the morons in this situation.
You're dressed up as Iron Man. You don't get a say. You don't get this. You're a grown man dressed up as Iron Man, and you don't look like Robert Downey Jr. So you know what? You don't get a say.
Yeah, you're holding your extra large soda in a Hulk smash hand. Calm down, bro. Let's stop this nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah, it bummed me out. You lose faith in. I don't have much faith in people, but you even lose more faith in people.
Yeah,
especially what that movie represents. If it was like a movie with a bunch of scumbags, it'd be one thing, because again, scumbags kind of watch scumbags. But it's like, Captain America would never do this, and
Captain America would not do this. This is some nonsense for sure. Yeah, that's a good one, man. That's a good one.
I honestly wish that Thanos just snaps his finger and all those people disappeared. Is that too much to ask for? I don't know.
Yeah, probably a little too much, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It was annoying for sure. Yeah. So let's see. Okay, so this next one, like I said, a little bit of a story that goes along with this, and I'm not even sure the best way to describe this. But so funny that you mentioned Endgame, because this was when we saw Xfinity War. So the movie right before Endgame. And
did you say Xfinity War like Comcast?
Is that what I said? Hey man, it's a little bit late. Yeah,
Xfinity. Never gonna get sponsored from Xfinity. They're not gonna sponsor this podcast ever.
Hey, we've had some issues with Xfinity, so yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. They took away Showtime. They gave me Showtime for free for a couple of years. They took it away. What am I gonna do about billions? I don't know. So yeah, no. What now I'm flustered, man. What's it called?
Is it Infinity War?
Infinity War. Thank you. Infinity War. Xfinity War.
Xfinity War. That kind of
Between
sucks, probably.
AT&T and Xfinity. So
Exactly.
no, Infinity War. We saw Infinity War, and we were we were sitting down, and really weird situation. Like I said, I don't know how to describe this person specifically, but basically it's kind of like the equivalent of those stories you hear of people on an airplane that you sit next to that want to talk to you, or that want to have more interaction with you than you really wanted to. Like, you just want to sit there, do your flight, and be done with it. Kind of the same thing. We were at this theater. I was in our group. I was at the end with one seat next to me, and there was this guy that sat down, and really strange situation, because I think something happened where his group was actually behind us. And so there was probably about 5 or 6 people behind us. So he kind of kept looking back, but he was too far to really have any interaction with them. So he's kind of like nodding, like, "Oh yeah, I'm part of the conversation," but he wasn't. So I kind of feel like he was feeling like he was missing out. So he wanted to bring me into his world and kind of have some conversations with me, which, I'm going to be friendly, but not really where I want to have conversation, because, I'm with you guys. I'm getting ready to watch this movie. So I was like, he kind of says a few things here and there. And then he'll, as the movie got started, you could tell he was really excited about this movie, would make comments and then like look at me for, some kind of affirmation, or, just like, "Hey, that was cool." Like, "Yeah, that was cool, man." And so it kind of went on a few times throughout the movie. All that I can deal with. The part that I could not deal with was, as we were sitting there, I had a soda, and the soda was on his side between him and I. As I'm watching this movie, all of a sudden I see the soda like float up in the air. Like, what's going on? I look over, he's grabbed my soda. Now the problem is, he's about to take a drink of my soda. I don't know this man. I have to stop him because I don't want his lips on my straw. The funny thing was, he didn't even have a drink. He didn't have any food with him. He didn't have a drink. He just he got so into the movie. He's like, I'm gonna grab a drink because I'm thirsty. And he just starts going to, it was like maybe 6 inches from his lips. I'm like, hey, hold on. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, "That's okay, man. No problem. But I'm gonna take it back if it's cool." And yeah, there was just such a strange thing. But really, like, this person, like, that's just kind of like a funny thing that happened. But really, the thing is, like, a stranger that wants to connect with you over the movie. It's like, I'm probably not on the same level of comic book fandom that you are, so I'm probably not gonna be able to connect with you the way you want. But I'm sorry that you can't sit with your friends, but like, I'm not gonna be able to connect with you this way. So I guess it's really just that stranger that wants to connect with you a little bit more than you want in a theater.
Yeah, no, I think the thing that made that situation work, I think he did it more than once. I think he tried getting your drink and you had to shut, like, at second time, it was like, we play, indoor softball rules. It's 2 strikes, you're out. And so you have to have some words, or you have to get a little physical with him, in terms of, because we don't I don't mess around with soft drinks. I can down some caffeine. So
Sure.
no one touches my stuff,
Yeah, I had to stop him twice. Didn't get physical, but I said, "Okay, I'm gonna have to hold this in my lap."
Yeah.
Thankfully, he didn't try to grab it out of my lap. That would have been a problem. Then it's like, okay, we're dealing with a different situation. He's not interested in the drink at all.
Now we got to lawyer up.
Yeah, we got to lawyer up. Shout out to Dale. So,
well, I don't know if we should shout out Dale.
Anyway,
if you know, you know.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, so that was just kind of a funny situation.
We were taking that shot today.
Yeah, I felt like it. So, not that many people listen to this podcast. So, anyways, yeah. So I think I have one more. How many more do you have?
I have one more.
Okay, go for it.
This isn't even a person. This is just a story that needs to be publicized, because it makes me mad. It's just going back to my bad studio movie grill experience. I'm just gonna give a little context, is that it was your bachelor party.
Mm-hmm.
And we just did a bunch of little activities. So we went bowling and movie and that sort of thing. So we were doing that.
Nothing crazy. Like, I don't drink, you don't drink. Like, no one in our group really drinks. So it's like, it was a very quiet, nothing wild.
Yeah, no, nothing crazy. So we were getting ready that morning, and it was a pretty early morning, probably started about 9 or 10 to get to the bowling alley. So I was getting ready, taking a shower. I had all bought the tickets, because at Studio Movie Grill, you need to pre-order your tickets and all that stuff. So we're going, and I took a shower, and immediately after I got out of the shower, I heard you rush in and say, "Hey, have you already bought the tickets?" And so whenever you hear that, that's red flags go off. And I said, "Yeah, I already bought them." He's like, "Okay, here's the deal." And without getting into names, one of your good friends who we all love, I love the guy, you love the guy, and I think it's probably a cultural thing that what he did. He basically invited another friend to come along, which is it's fine. You know, you're a nice guy. I tolerate people. The problem was there was a little tension, and if you cut whatever you want to cut, there's probably a little tension prior to your wedding because of a specific act and kind of a communication track that you had with this person. So you weren't thrilled with this person.
No, I'll say it. I don't care. So yeah, this person, we had a limited number of spaces in our wedding. This person was invited, was not given a +1,
but really standard.
Yeah, and really made a push for his +1, and he's like, "Well, I already invited her. Not my problem." And eventually, I was talked into. Now, I just want to make this very clear. I like to think I'm a nice person. This was actually not my choice. I was talked into it by some other people saying like, "Hey, if maybe we let him do it." And I'm like, all right, because I was fully invested into not letting him to do this because of how hard he was pushing for it, with no regard for the fact that it was my wedding. But
and that's just point out he if we're going to be real, he was a fringe guest to begin with. It wasn't like a core. If I did that, it would be one thing because I'm your brother. This was if you had 150 people, he was 145 to 150. He was in that range.
Yeah. So right, and so that was one of those things where it's like, hey, you just made too strong of a push, and if someone would have asked me, and it would have been different. He's like, but the way he tried to make this strong push. Now, again, we let it happen, but anyways, that's beside the point. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we get really late notice that, hey, this new, and it was Neighbors too, so it was a pretty busy film, and those aren't the biggest theaters, so there's not a ton of seats. So, and it's a Saturday afternoon, so tons of people were out. So I was like, okay, let me scramble, and we found one seat. It was the row above, all the way on the far right side. Whereas you guys were kind of the, in the middle, the perfect seats. So I was like, okay, I'll buy this, and I'll take the bullet. I'll sit, away from everyone else. So basically, we were kind of all a little peeved that just the whole situation, the wedding part plus kind of, again, not Matt, your friend, because I think it's just a cultural thing. I think he's just really friendly and inviting, and I just don't think he thought anything of it, especially the planning portion of it. So no ill will towards him. All the ill will was towards the guest he brought. Yeah. So then we got there, and like I said, it's Studio Movie Grill, so I have to coordinate with the waiters and everything. Hey, these guys are on my tab. I'll pay. All of that. So then it kind of gets to a quieter part of the movie. I don't think they have as many ads as they're trying to get everything situated. So all of a sudden, the guest, he's kind of sitting kind of towards the middle at the very end. All of a sudden, he stands up, turns to me again, a row up, and announces in not a quiet voice, is like, "Hey, Jordan, hey, she's single. She's a single. So like, you guys can do the thing." No, I don't think you heard. She's single, so you can do this, right? I mean, she said she doesn't mind. She's single, so she doesn't mind. That's it. She's single. And it's like, hey, man, it's fine, And my thing was like, I wouldn't have made a big deal out of it because she was like I said, prime seat, just middle, and I was like at the corner. It wasn't the best vantage point. But again, he keeps yelling at me. He's like, "Hey, she's single. Just do it. She's single. She's ready. She's right. She's cool with it." Yeah. And it's just the worst experience of my life because again, everyone. He's not afraid of a social situation. So
no, not at all.
Started shouting just so everyone could hear. And I'm just like, I want to just shoot myself.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's like I want to
brutal.
take this guy's Bud Light and just smash it into my. I don't know what's going on, but it's just like it was honestly the worst experience of my life because I hate that. I don't like to be center of attention, and he made sure that I knew she was single. So I can only imagine what other people thought I was doing. I started talking to like this older Mexican couple next to me, and there's like,
Right.
"Oh, that dude did that to you." It's kind of a douchebag. I wouldn't have taken. I would have made him sit up here. I was like, I'm just trying to be, I'm just trying to be cool. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough spot. I do remember that. And I'm thinking, oh, this is like a perfect way to end this entire thing, this entire bachelor party with this guy making this statement when he was already on the bubble of being there anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
no,
not a lot of great feelings towards him and towards the movie theater in general.
and let's be honest, like he's a good guy just in that season, but made some choices that made it difficult to be around him at that point.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, that was rough, but that's okay. So that was your last one?
That was my last one. And that's not even a person you see often. That's just, I needed a fifth one and I just wanted to out him like that because,
There you go. That's all right.
again, and if something was made out of it, like if we did go on a date, like that would be one thing, but like nothing was made. So I was just publicly embarrassed and, he just never elaborated on what we were trying to do, or he just kept saying she's single and just yelling that. So
yeah, that's uncomfortable. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. So the last person I have, this person drives me nuts because it happens at sporting events. It happens at movie theaters because so many of the movie theaters now have assigned seating. And so obviously on your ticket, it shows a very specific number and row that you're in. This person is the person who not just sits in the wrong seat, but then tries to convince you that it's not that big of a deal. Drives me crazy. And one time in particular, this happened, and it was by far the worst. I took our dad to a movie. We went to go see Magnificent Seven, the new one, with Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt. And he's a big Magnificent Seven guy, the original, so a big Western guy. So I thought, okay, this will be fun. We'll go to the premiere of this movie. We'll have a good time. So him and I get there. We get there early, like I said. We're sitting in our seats. The movie theater is starting to fill up again. It's a packed theater because it's the premiere night, and we get there, sitting in our seats. This lady and her boyfriend, or whoever this guy was with her, they walk up. Her boyfriend sits in the seat, and he basically sits next to me. There's no extra seat. There's someone on the side of her, on the side of him, and there's me. So there's two people on both sides of this man. And she's like, oh, Jim, like, how am I going to sit next to you, Jim? Like, where's my seat, Jim? She kept saying his name, Jim, Jim, Jim. And she looked at me and she's like, would you mind scooting over one? I said, well, this is the seat that I was assigned. And she said, yeah, but it's just one seat. I said, oh gosh. Now, again, I'm a pretty patient person, and I like to think I'm pretty nice. I'm like, okay, here's the deal. And if I say here's the deal,
it's never good.
That's never good. I said, okay, here's the deal. I'll shift over. I said, but once the person comes that has the seat that I'm shifting to, I'm coming back for my seat. She's like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I just want to sit next to Jim. It's like, okay. And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, stop saying his name. No one cares that you want to sit next to Jim. No one cares.
Kind of makes me hate Jim.
Yeah, no one.
No one likes Jim now. I just hate him.
Right. No one likes Jim now because you keep saying his name. It's like, I want to sit next to Jim. Oh man, I can't sit next to Jim. No one cares about Jim or you. So stop saying it. So I'm fine. Okay, I move over one. My dad shifts over one. Not a problem. Now the dude next to me is like, you shouldn't have done that. I said, yeah, it's fine. I said, it's not going to last long. So sure enough, 2 minutes later, this lovely older couple comes. And it's like, excuse me, son, I think that's my seat. I said, you're absolutely right. It is your seat. I'm going to go get mine.
I'm not an idiot. I went to the right one.
You're right. And so I went up to her and I said, guess what? She's like, it's like, what am I going to do? I can't sit next to Jim. I said, again, I don't care about Jim.
Sit on his lap.
Sit on his lap.
Don't sit on my seat.
Yeah. Sorry. Go sit somewhere else. And so then you proceed to hear her go down the aisle saying, okay, I was hoping to sit next to Jim. can you shift down? And finally, she sat like two people away from Jim.
Mhm.
She was not happy. And then to make it worse, she was a talker. And so finally, the person in front of us, actually the guy who told me that I shouldn't have moved, he was just feeling like as cowboy as it gets. He was watching a Western movie. He's like, "You need to shut up." I'm like, "Oh." Yeah, that deep voice, big burly guy. And you know what? It worked. She shut up. Finally, she stopped talking about Jim. She didn't talk about the movie anymore. She was just quiet. Like she was sitting there pouting, but it's like everybody was just thankful that man finally said something. So I feel like it was a real team effort. I feel like we really worked together to make sure that she did not get her way. I don't know. And let me ask you this: who bought the tickets for them? Did Jim buy the tickets? Did Jim buy one ticket? And then, I mean, you know what? And maybe we're being if you're trying to be positive, maybe we're being too hard on Jim. Maybe Jim was like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't want to sit next to this crazy woman. So I'm going to buy one ticket for me here. And then I'm going to make her sit in a seat like 2 or 3 rows or 2 or 3 people away from me. Maybe we're not giving Jim enough credit. Maybe she was the only dumb
Jim's a
one.
genius. If I'm Google or Tesla, I'm hiring Jim tomorrow because that's a thinker right there.
I mean, you think about it, right? Because he's like, I don't have to sit next to her because she's going to drive me crazy. But at the same time, he's like, he seems like the hero to her. He's like, oh, maybe we can ask them to switch, He's like, feels like he's trying to do his best to make the situation good for her. But at the end of the day, he's like, I'm sorry, baby. There's nothing I can do. This is just a situation. They're being stubborn. What can I say? You know what I mean? Maybe that's what he was going for. Jim's a genius.
That's a great spin. I mean, you know what? He's playing 3D chess. She's playing like I don't even know Connect 4. She's not even playing checkers. She's playing Connect 4.
She's playing one of those games that they used to have at like those little wooden board games at restaurants.
Yeah, exactly.
With the pegs. You don't really know what it does. It's just like, I think this is a game.
She's playing like a computer game that you just click, hey, get hint, and she just does that, just getting the hint. She just never plays. She just takes the hint. That's all she does.
Yeah, solitaire with just all hinting.
Just have the computer play for you.
Yeah.
No, I have that same scenario, and it's not even a movie theater, but the same situation happens at I've been going a lot. It's getting hot. The gym lap pool. I would bet the over under for geriatric fist fights over the reservations at the lap pool is like 3. I almost saw a fist fight between a 60-year-old the other day. And it was that same exact situation. Hey, hey, I was supposed to be signed up, and the lady's like, really? I thought I had this hour. And basically the guy just pounds her, and just like eventually she gets out. She just keeps just nailing her with just arguments, and so finally she gets out, and she immediately, like 5 minutes later, comes out. It's like, I just talked to the front desk person. You were not signed up. And it's like, oh, and he's like, you want me to get out? It's like, no, you've already interrupted my workout. So like they were really gonna fight, and like I don't know if this will be offensive to say. She definitely came from a part of the world where she's definitely taken some shots from a man before. And he was definitely from a time and place in America where it was socially acceptable to, put hands on women. So like it was going to be a fight, and like, I don't know who was going to win, but it was going to be nasty. It was going to be a whole heck of a lot better than that Dustin Poirier Conor McGregor fight. It would have lasted a lot longer.
No broken ankles.
No broken ankles, because they were both built sturdy. And again, they came from a time and place where, mixed gender fights were not only like socially acceptable, but it was pretty popular. So I was concerned because I'm just trying to get my 45 minutes of laps in.
Yeah. That's always rough. And that stuff just is always so bizarre to me. You know what I mean? And it's funny, I feel like in those situations too, the person who actually has the seat and who has the proof, they have the ticket showing that this is their seat. Like the person who's in the wrong always spins it like the person that bought the tickets for that specific seat is the unreasonable one. Like, just be cool, bro. Just be cool. It's like, no, hey man, read your ticket right. I'm sorry that you don't know the difference between A and G because you're in the front row, homie. We're all the way in the very back. How did you mess this up? But like in all of those situations, whether it's a sporting event, movie theater, whatever it may be, they always try to spin it like the person that is like they're like, you're so rigid and so regimented that you have to sit in the seat you bought. Yeah, that's how it works. You sit in the seat you bought, because if you don't, then it causes chaos throughout the entire theater. And then other people are having to have conversations about, hey, why are you in my seat? Oh, because that guy's in my seat. Well, that guy's in that guy's seat. It just causes chaos. Hey, pick the seat, or don't go to the theater, stay at home.
Or third option, and I would take this. If someone gave me $50, give me $50, you can have my seat, and I won't complain. I'll go wherever your seat was. So bring cash.
That's bring cash. That's not a bad idea. $50, because that gets you back into like 2 movies.
Exactly. So if you want to be that person and you screwed up, bring some change, because you're going to be paying me for my seat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, that stuff that always drives me nuts. And I'll say this: I love going to movies. I love going to movie theaters. I'm looking forward to. I just haven't with kids now. It's a little tougher, but like I'm looking forward when I have a chance to get back to the movie theater. I'll say this though: like the stories that I've shared have been rare exceptions. Like I've actually had really good experiences at movie theaters. Luckily, like I've heard some horror stories from people. I haven't really experienced those, so I'm thankful for that. Now, that being said, being a person who podcasts now, I would welcome more awkward situations with people, because it is good content, and then we would have even more to talk about. But I feel like there's something I'm missing. Like I feel like there's been situations where I'm just trying my best not to laugh, because there's such a weird, awkward situation going on in front of me. And I wish I had something. I was talking to my wife about that. I feel like her and I went to a movie where we were just like literally like our bodies were shaking because we were trying so hard not to laugh at whatever was happening, but couldn't remember it. So if I remember it, maybe I'll bring it back to our next podcast. But yeah, man, movie theater people. So, it's kind of all over the place, but those are the people I think of when I think about movie theater personalities, movie theater people. Those are the ones that come to mind.
Yep. No, same. I think that was well put. Those are the people that I hate. So if you're one of those people, change your behavior.
Change your behavior. Be better. Be better. There we go, man. So, we were gonna do a connection suggestion. I don't really feel like it. We're gonna skip it today, just because we were talking about some movies. I would say this: if you have a chance to go check out some movies, go check out some movies and let us know how they are. I know some big movies have come out recently: Black Widow. Fast and the Furious 9, whatever the name of that movie's called. I don't know. It's F9. Is that what it's called? F9? That might be it.
I don't know.
They're fun. I enjoy those movies. And a couple other movies have come out recently. So check those out. Let us know how they are. If you guys have any movie suggestions, or maybe like one of the movies that you loved seeing in the theater. So not just a movie that you love, but like one that was super memorable when you went to the theater. That would be cool too. One that you and I think are both bummed that we didn't get a chance to experience in theaters first was Tenet. Really cool movie. Very confusing. Definitely makes your head hurt. I'm definitely not smart enough to comprehend what went on in that movie, but it's I'm bummed that I couldn't see it for like the first thing in the theater, because I think that would have been pretty cool. And
I feel like even though there's the pandemic, that was kind of, I think, when things started to open up a little bit.
Yeah,
I think had it been a different time and place, we would have done it. But I just think with your situation, bummer. Next time, I think we would have gotten to it. But
it was frustrating hearing people was like, "I just saw Tenet." Like, oh, screw you! How dare you bring that information to my head? I didn't need to hear that.
How dare I follow you and you post that?
Yeah, how dare you? So anyways, man, well, this was fun. I appreciate it as always when you step in. And where can the people follow you if they haven't been offended by you at this point, if they weren't offended by your take on previous generations just beating each other in different genders?
I just want to I disavow hitting women. I don't like fighting. I don't like that. That makes me uncomfortable. So
sure.
I'm just stating facts. It's a different time, different cultures. They do different things.
Even if Jordan was living back then, he would not have hit anybody.
No, I would have been the one hit. So let's put that out there.
Papa. Yep.
No, you can follow me at Jordan Takimoto.
Hey, so, I'm sorry, hold on. Can you imagine going back to what we were talking about earlier about the couple and the bigger couple that was, had the husband swiping through his Playmate list? Can you imagine that fight? Woo! That'll be a
That's, you know,
slugfest.
yeah. If anyone is a UFC fan, it's like Derek Lewis and Roy Nelson going at it. Those
Yeah.
are some big boppers, you know.
I'll tell you what, he's not coming out of that fight alive. She is gonna mess him up. So,
Yeah.
anyways, just want to go full circle.
Yeah. No, well, you can follow me at Jordan Takimoto. Hit a little bit of a rough patch with the tweets. So, you know, we really just had to just keep swinging and keep, you know, throwing up some 3-pointers. And so, you know, some hit, some don't.
You haven't hit you haven't hit the peak, because I think it was last time you came on the show. We talked about you having a little bit of a viral tweet, and you haven't hit that peak. That might have been Apex Mountain. If you're a fan of The Ringer, the rewatchables, that might have been Apex Mountain, and you might not be touching that peak again.
No. So I you know, I had a couple week span where I just wasn't putting out much. And then finally I just started just volume shooting, just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you. And,
Okay.
you know, we usually talk about, you know, this side, the production side of the podcast off air. I just want, this is social media related, and I just want to see what you think about this, because I think it'd be hysterical. So you're always, from this account, you're always posting like these inspirational quotes, or like, which I find like there's one on Friday, which was kind of ironic because it was something about don't give up. Or do you remember that one? It's like, don't.
I post a lot, but yeah. Don't give up. Something about struggle. Sure.
The irony is you were currently sick and you had to cancel this podcast. So I was really close to say, someone just kind of quit when they were struggling, because my guy was just down for the count on Friday. He's like, I can't do this podcast.
Man, I was going to be okay. I was a little congested. I'm like, man, my voice sounds pretty bad. I don't want to do that to the people, because Jordan, on multiple occasions, Jordan's like, just text me. Your voice is pretty deep on the podcast. Like, hey, man, I don't know how to help that. You want me to put some effects on my voice so I sound like Mickey Mouse? What do you want me to do? And so, yeah, I wasn't feeling great. And then turns out I was got sick a couple times throughout the night. Found my face in the toilet. Not fun. So, screw you, man. Don't throw my motivational quotes back at me.
Okay,
but
no,
you're right. If this wasn't the 60s, I would beat you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because.
Okay, well,
you and I would be like walking out of like the coal mine, ending a day's work, and it's like, bam, hit you with a bag of coal. That's what I would do.
Yeah, just like a sack of bricks or something.
Yeah, with my metal lunchbox.
No, so here's what I think you should do, because they're always inspirational. They're always in the same font, same background. I think you should see who's actually reading those and just come up with something super negative, like, hey, your spouse is cheating on you, and just post that and just see what people do. Because it's always super positive, and like, you know, you're always as great as your next day, or what, I don't know what you post, but I just think one of these times you should mix in a real curveball and just like, hey, your son hates you, and just that's it, and just see what people say.
That's interesting. Maybe a different idea for a different podcast and a different account. You should start your own. That's what you should do. Like, kind of motivational. That should be like at kind of motivational by Jordan Takimoto.
Okay.
Yeah. And then just thought that, probably not for me, because I know some people that do read them and reshare them. That's all I need. It's like, hey, if this was the 60s, I'd hit you. Something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Jordan says hitting others is okay. So
as long as he gets his slap in and no one offends him or does anything like that.
Exactly. All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to wrap this thing up. So you guys can follow us at Connectable Podcast on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And you can follow us at Connectable Pod on Twitter. I haven't posted there for a while, but we do have one. Trying to get better, but it hasn't happened recently. And that's pretty much it. Make sure you guys follow us and subscribe. I know it's a little bit different on Apple Podcasts now. I think you have to follow the show, subscribe. It's goofy. Yeah, Jordan gives it 2 thumbs down.
In the words of Chappelle, I wish I had more hands.
Give it 4 thumbs down. It's a little goofy, but yeah. So make sure you're still following us or subscribing, whatever they call it now. And give us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast. If you didn't like this episode, just erase this one out of your memory and think about the ones you did like. Give us a 5-star review.
Tweet Deb directly. Just tweet Deb, and then that'll make her feel good. Speaking of Deb, I'm so used to her fumbling that last part. So I feel like we need to just bookend it with Deb talk, Deb slander, front and end.
Deb slander. Yeah, I feel like that's going to become the new intro when we have guests on, a guest co-host. If Deb's not here, then, but you know, she does the same thing to me. I feel like if the moment, here's the thing, everybody, the moment one of us doesn't make fun of the other person while the other person's gone, that actually might be the end. So hopefully that doesn't happen. So anyways, on that note, we will see you guys next week. See ya. Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.